Hey guys, this is IntroducingEmy and we're back with another 100 Days of Making Comics, and I have to kind of get this show on the road because I've got a doctor's appointment and I would really like to get this video rendering before I go because my computer is a little unusable right now when it is rendering. So I don't know if I even filmed this page setup. I can't remember. I don't remember what I do in camera most of the time. But I'm changing all of this down here. I mostly wanted a long panel at the bottom here. I'll show you when I get rid of this. These are like the only two panels that are kind of staying the same. So in the old page, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like this sort of shape, but I don't know. I wanted to change it. So I wanted to show Roger and 8 walking to the majestic bunker. Or, is it a bunker? I guess it would be kind of like a bunker. This is now backwards because she's facing the other direction now. I'm also going to stand her up a little more. Her pose is like really backbreaking here. I'll just tilt her for now. So because I don't have a panel down below, and I'm completely changing this one here where Roger says how old he is because he's a genius. The joke in this scene, I feel like I shouldn't explain it because that's silly to explain a joke, but here we go. The joke in this scene is that this character Roger, he asked who 8 is, and she says 8, which is like her code name with this organization that he's now working for. And she's clearly not 8 years old, but he answers, I'm 27. Like that's, yeah, they're not talking about age. It's kind of interesting. I wonder how this page would translate because in a lot of other languages, you don't, say your age by just stating a number. You say it like, I am so many years old. So like, I don't know. I'd be curious to see how this would translate. But I wanted this pose where he's kind of like putting his thumb to his chest with his arm out like a total goober. Like he's proud of the fact that he's 27. I don't know. I thought it would be funnier this way because like he initially says I'm 27 in a distance shot, like in a long shot. I'm trying to think like something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, just roughing it out. Then here I want want like a long shot of them walking. I always kind of draw, oh, sorry, itch. I always draw Roger with his hands in his pocket. I don't know. I always want him to have this like look like he doesn't care about anything that's going on, even if it's like really serious. And I want 8 to look really dancy. Eight's kind of like my poser. My posy girl. Not a poser, I guess. Just, I don't know. I like to draw her really posy. I've been trying to get away from doing that too much because it can kind of come off like, I don't know, not natural, I guess, like not natural poses. And then in the distance will be the bunker. I kind of forget what it looks like. I have a model of it that I use for reference. I'll have to go and look at that. I know there's like a light and a door, and I think there's like some boxes or crates or something sitting outside. Something like that. And then these will be where the speech lines or the little tails on my bubbles go. I might actually, I'll do it in a different color here. I think what I might do is have this like be all black. And like fade down into this, into like the sky color or whatever. Let me see what it looks like, kind of do like a test version of it. Doesn't that look kind of nice? I think that looks really nice actually. And if I'm gonna do that, I might as well just get rid of this. The pseudo bottom of the frame. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot better actually. This I don't know if I mentioned it, but this dialogue, I think, yeah, like where this tail connects. This is actually supposed to be on the next page, but I'm like, hell, why doesn't she just tell them this stuff while they're going over to the bunker in the first place? Like, why would she even hold out on that kind of information? Like, she's gonna tell them anyway. Like, I was watching MST, and one thing I noticed that they kind of rag on with characters is a lot of times the characters will like have a conversation and then they'll walk or drive somewhere together and pick up the conversation like exactly where they left off in the previous scene, and it's like, do they just ride to the location in complete silence? Like when you, especially if it was something big and important that you want to talk about. So another thing that I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to roll this panel around a little better because it's sort of not in the right position. Oh, heck. One thing I always get ragged on is this panel here because her hands don't quite line up and make the H shape, so I don't know, it also looks kind of like she's throwing up a gang sign. I may or may not keep that, especially since I did it originally to highlight that her name is 8 and not that, like, it's just some arbitrary number statement. And in fact, I even tried, use your words, Emmy. I don't know, I'm at a loss for words today. I, like, highlighted these numbers and made them bigger, more colorful than normal, and, to try to show that. So I don't even know if I'm going to keep that pose. I might just, like, have her be like, I might have her just, like, gesture at herself in some way. I'm gonna laugh if a whole bunch of people are like, no, you can't get rid of the 8 pose. Her infamous weird pose. I'm trying so fast. I feel like I'm in a panic, like, oh god, I gotta go to my doctor's appointment. I always, like, run out the door like I'm gonna be late, and I always get there like an hour early and just mill around and think, oh, I could be working right now. Her hair needs to be lower. She's looking down. Maybe some kind of coquettish pose like this, like where she's sort of putting her hands to her chest, like, oh, I'm 8. There's this character in, if anybody watches Call the Midwife, there's this great character named Trixie, and she kind of reminds me, like, of a weird mashup of, like, 8 and Phyllis. And actually, spoilers, Trixie's getting married! Well, she got proposed to. I don't know if she's getting married, but I mean, you're ruining the show for everybody. Now, if you don't watch Call the Midwife, it's a really good show. Lots of cute chicks. My only reason for watching it. Cute chicks doing cute chick things. I also like historical dramas. So there's that. Alright, let's pose. That's the word of the day. Pose. So it's kind of saving me some work too, because it's like few less panels. I'm actually combining 2 pages into a spread in this scene, not this page in particular, but two coming up here into one, which is going to save me even more time. I don't know, is this like the cheating thing to do, to combine pages and stuff? I feel like it isn't, because I still, like, have to redo 2 pages worth of art. It's just, I now they're going to be 2 awesome pages worth of art. Okie dokie, so, geez, wow, I still have a little bit more time. I was like, like in full-on panic mode getting this done. So let's go. We got that sketched out. Well, we can at least do the first panel here. Uh-oh. Come on. Oh, my pen kind of gave out on me for a minute. Go over to browse. I apologize if you see anything spoilerish. So got into reading, I think I mentioned this in another video recently. I kind of got all the new Batman titles. I got Arkham Manor, which takes place after Batman Eternal, and I still haven't read Batman Eternal yet. Spoilers, though. I do know that Batman loses Wayne Manor somehow through, I don't know, him being Bruce Wayne, being ridiculous with his bat-like shenanigans. And meanwhile, Arkham Asylum gets all busted up during the events of Batman Eternal, I believe. And the city kind of takes like eminent domain over the foreclosed upon Wayne Manor and turns it into Arkham Manor until they can build a new Arkham, which if you've read Batman for like a long time now, you'll know that Arkham blows up like every year. And since I know this is like New 52 timeline, it's not New Earth, it's not Prime Earth, it's New Earth now. But I'm just saying, like, you've read that plot a lot, so I actually kind of like that they're trying to do like something slightly new with the whole Arkham's blown up and now we need a new place for everybody. So the city takes over Wayne Manor and makes a new asylum, temporary asylum, and the plot is basically that there's this killer on the loose within Arkham, killing patients. And so Batman becomes an inmate at the asylum to try to catch this person. And he uses the name Jack Shaw, which I don't think is a name he's used before. No, in fact, I'm almost positive. I think he has like a lot of aliases and stuff that he uses and like recycles, but this was a new one. So he becomes Jack Shaw and is at the asylum, and it's kind of cool. Like, he gets along with the villains pretty well, which also lends to my theory that he needs to be locked up with the rest of them. And Mr. Freeze is adorable in these comics, and it's winter time, and there's nowhere for them to keep him because something goes wrong with his freezer room that they normally keep him locked up in, and they end up just letting him like stay outside the asylum, and he's got nowhere else to go, so he's just like hanging around outside Arkham Manor, just like building igloos and playing with snowballs and like throwing snowballs at Dr. Arkham's car and stuff. It was awesome. It was honestly probably the best thing about the comics. But so her eyes would actually be lower. I mean, I'm not going to draw her eyes, but I like to at least get them in the right spot so that my whole thing isn't thrown off here. But I was kind of disappointed. Like, they kind of put you on this, like, wild goose chase that it's Mr. Zaz who's the killer. And I was like, cool. So, like, Zaz is doing it. And I honestly haven't read many good Zaz plot lines in the New 52 stuff. But then it turns out it's somebody else. Oh, for a while they get you thinking it's the Joker or it's Clayface. You know, they're kind of playing with like a whole bunch of different villains as the one who's the killer. And it just turns out to be somebody else whose name or persona I will not reveal. But it was just kind of like a real letdown on who it actually is. And I kind of don't even understand why they... I guess it's just to keep you reading for 6 volumes. It's only 6 individual issues. 1 volume, I guess, worth of comic. I don't like when they do that. When they tease and tease and tease, and then they're just like, oh, I guess it was nobody that you care about. See you next time on Batman Letdown. Nah, it actually had some good parts, but there was like some... I just felt like they kept kind of introducing villains, like, and the Joker's here, and the ventriloquist is here, and the Mad Hatter's here, and then they like kind of really didn't do much with them. They just kind of came and went all in the same like set of pages, and I was like, oh, are they gonna come back? And then it was like, nope, they're not coming back. But this is kind of like a big thing for me, like the fact that all the inmates are at Wayne Manor. And just, like, so you know, Batman sealed up the entrance to the Batcave with, like, 1,000,000 pounds of concrete, so nobody's gonna find it. That was my biggest concern when I read the synopsis for these comics. I was like, whoa, 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 you're telling me that you're gonna... See, and I also thought Bruce Wayne, like, gave up the asylum as... Or gave up the manor as, like, you know, like, I must do this. It's my civic duty. But he was like, no. You know, he didn't want to. In fact, I think he steals some of his own stuff out of the manor. Like, the big portrait of Thomas and Martha Wayne that hangs over the fireplace in the reading room. Like, I think he went in there and, like, busted that out, so... But he's been entering the Batcave through a hidden access in the woods. It's like a mile out from the main mansion area, so the main grounds. But yeah, it's gonna be like kind of weird getting used to the fact that Arkham Asylum's gone again. I kind of get sad whenever I see it in shambles. It's like my favorite location in all of Gotham. I remember when I was younger and I got into Batman through watching like the animated series and stuff, and Batman Beyond came out, and they mention in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, the movie, that Arkham is now a gaping wound, and like the asylum went under a long time ago and it's been out of use for all that time. And I think it was a little nod to No Man's Land, which I then read later, and I was like, no. And every time like they break apart the asylum and all the villains are sent out into the wind, I'm like, no, I don't know where they all are now. And now they're doing it again in the New 52, and it's so traumatizing. I don't know. I like to know where all my villains are. For the most part, you know. Obviously they escape and then cause havoc for a while, but they always come back home. They love doing that, though. That's like their favorite thing, is busting up the asylum. They never do it with Blackgate. Blackgate Prison. I'm not sure why. I know during, Prime... Wait, is it New Earth? I'm getting New Earth and Prime Earth mixed up. So, like, not New 52 stuff. Arkham used to be out on an island, and then... I can't remember what happened, but it fell apart. In fact, it might have been during No Man's Land when the earthquake happened and they had to move it back onto the mainland, but it was like way out. Or was it the other way around? Was it on the mainland and then they moved it out to the island? I can't remember now, man. I know Blackgate's out on an island. It's always been out on the island there. Isn't this fun, me just gabbing about Batman for half an hour? I really should be talking about comics that are not Batman that I have done. I've always wanted to work on a Batman title, just to say I have. But I also love reading them, and I don't, like, want to know, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't want to know what's coming. I need to overdraw 8's head a little more. I tend to draw like her hair too small a lot of times, and it kind of makes it look like a hat as opposed to hair. I don't know, if you overdraw it a little bit, it looks more like hair to me. Okay, and then so this would be body down there, and I can actually move this whole thing up a little bit. I don't need to see the top so much as I do the bottom. I got 3 minutes to start roughing in our arms here, and then I gots to go. I timed this both perfectly and horribly because I'm gonna have to run out the door. I hope I haven't done a pose like this for her somewhere else. I feel like I've drawn her doing this pose at some other point. I'm gonna have to go look, actually. It's gonna bother me if I don't. I don't like to have characters doing the same poses over and over and over, except for Roger. Like, I have, like, kind of, like, default poses for a lot of them, where, like, they stand a certain way. You know, like, Roger always stands with his hands in his pocket, and I tend to turn Rose's feet inwards a lot when she stands, or, like, have her rubbing her feet on the back of her legs. Like, those are, like, kind of milling around poses, but I don't like having characters do the same poses over and over. Like when they're talking, I don't want their hands to be in the same positions every time. I know, it kind of goes against the way people actually work. People tend to gesture with their hands the same way. You know, when somebody talks with their hands a lot, you know how, like, the gestures they do, usually to the point where you can make fun of them. Like the good friend you are. Oh, my dog is so groany today. I think she's a little bored. Her trainer's coming today, so we will have happy super fun times later with her trainer. Do something like that. But nah, I don't like to draw the characters doing the same sort of gestures and poses because I gotta get better at drawing, and this is about the only thing I work on most of the time. Like, this is the #1 thing I draw all the time, so if I want to try something new in art, it usually has to be through trying human. Like, if I want to get better at drawing buildings, I gotta wait for a city scene or something, because I've gotta update. Alright, so I'm at the 30-minute mark. I need to get going, but in between then and now, I'm going to check to see if I've done this before with her. Or some character. This looks like a really familiar pose. I kind of did something along this, like, recently in the newer pages, but it wasn't quite like this. I don't know. I'll have to check. Anyway, I will save this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!